In the previous demo, we saw how to create these objects that represent pages within your application, or they could be fully self-contained applications if you're talking about a single page app. And yeah, if you double click on that, it'll open up the object and allow you to work with it in a low code fashion. In this demo, I'm going to show how to use some of the AI code generation that we've been hearing about. Um, Solvent-Lowcodr itself doesn't currently have any direct AI integration, but that will come down in the future. It's a fully capable platform, so there could be a future where it has both local AI integration and API based integration. Let's go to a ChatGPT. We know I already ran this prompt. To create a landing page, use Vuetify UI components and make it a single HTML page as a Vue.js application, and follow the standard structure of what a Vue.js application in the browser should look like, which is really just a simple HTML page. Have a mount point, which is usually a div, followed by inline JavaScript that represents the application, the JavaScript that will load the application. So this is what it generated. It's not quite correct. If you're familiar with Vuetify, it does have to all be hosted on the app component, and then a vmin, and then everything else goes in here. This one just dumps these components directly in the mount point, so it would not work if I just use that. I have copied it in here and edited it a bit, so that should allow it to work and have it properly organized. But otherwise, it's the stuff that was generated by ChatGPT. You could use probably some of the Copilot stuff. It should work as well. The only rule here is, at least for the Solvent product, in order for it to be able to import correctly, it really does have to follow this fairly straightforward format: HTML page, a mount point, followed by the inline app. So let's right click on that and do import. We're going to choose Vuetify as a framework that we want to target. It's basically loading this and then parsing it to try to identify the various parts of the page. You can ignore these. It recognizes the JavaScript that represents the application loading, so I'm going to choose that as the application and hit import. And now it's going to actually create another page object which represents the import. All right, so we have our page imported here. We double click, see what happens. Okay, so we have something that's generated from ChatGPT and imported to support low code. Here you have the logo. Um, doesn't have the image tag in there, so we'll just ignore that. But if I wanted to, let's just change the text that's in there on the welcome part. We come in here, the welcome to our company. Let's just do that to welcome to my booming co. Hit save. There you go. The update is reflected there. Um, there's a navigation drawer, which is this component. By default, it's hidden. It requires a trigger, but we can change that by just making it permanent. Choose a permanent property. Hit go. And now it should show up in here. Here it is. Of course, this is really just meant to be a starting point for you. Um, it says home. I could change that to again, and it'll update it again, all in the low code. So we've gone from code gen, from AI code gen, and integrated into low code. Um, we can do another one. We can create a different toolbar because you can import just a markup, not the whole page, right? So let's create a form. Say an address form using. All right, that looks good. So let's put it in there and see what ChatGPT comes up with. Hope it doesn't fail again. All right, it might. Yeah, it does. It did complete it. Um, what we can do with this, it does generate some objects for us here that we're gonna bind to. So what I could do is just for this demo, we're gonna attach that data binding to a toolbar. It'll get automatically integrated up into the final object, right? So I think it requires the code. That's just the editor that we're using there. It requires double code. For some reason, it doesn't. All right, I'm gonna hit save on this. Hopefully, have that. Hit save. All right, recognize that we have new state. We got a prompt that we need to remove the whole thing. That's a rule for Vue. If you update the root state element, basically the data object, it will require that you reload versus doing it dynamically. So it's going to do that. Um, while it's doing that, let me copy the form itself, the markup. Copy that. All right, so we have that. Now we can import just the snippet. I'm going to attach it to this container thing here. So if we do import markup, view HTML is what we want. All right, that looks good. And we do import. So this time around, we're importing a snippet as opposed to a full HTML page. And see what happens there. I think there's an issue with the template wrapping, so let's remove that. All right, so there was an issue with wrapping it in the template. That's one bug. I think it should work, but for some reason it didn't. But in any case, let's hide that floating toolbar there. So here we have it, and as you can see, our data got included that we bound previously, and you can always get back to that data. I'm not going to get into the details of those capabilities, but you have this really powerful ability to bind data objects to different things. I'm not even sure what I bound it to, but you can bound it to different objects within the application. It gives you a way to make things highly contextual. So if you have a data object binding that's say tied to the form, you can attach it directly to the form object in here so you know where it is. It doesn't have to be part of the data object in here within the view object structure itself. Um, well, we're going to be putting out a lot of documentation and videos to touch on some of those capabilities. But in any case, again, here's another example from CodeGen to low code, working in a very straightforward way. If I turn off composition on this, meaning go from dev mode to actually trying to run the application we just created, click on that, and it opens up our CodeGen. And very quickly, we've used ChatGPT and Solvent to get something going. Thank you.